Just waiting for that screen to change over.
How does Jeff has any conflict of interest? How do we do that? Either for online?
Conflict of interest?
Yeah, yes, but
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This is the Tuesday, 27th of May, Shire of Wyndham East Kimberley Ordinary Council meeting. And welcome you all. And we are starting a few minutes late after a audit entrance meeting. Members of the public are advised that recommendations to Council contained within this agenda and decisions arising from the Council meeting can be subject to alteration. Applicants and other interested parties should refrain from taking any action until such time as written advice is received confirming Council's decision with respect to any particular issue. Members of the public, please note that this meeting is being broadcast live and a video record will be made of these proceedings and published on the Shire's website. And I will declare the meeting open at, please,
5:08.
at 5:08. Thank you. At item 2, record of attendance. There are 6 councillors in the room in person today and one attending via Teams. In the room we have myself, David Menzel. We have Councillor Chafer, Councillor Deere, Councillor Harty, Councillor Robinson and Councillor Timms. Attending via Teams we have Councillor Gooding. In the room we also have CEO Vernon Lawrence. On Teams we have Director Nick Allen. In the room we also have Director Bell. And an apology from Director Webb. 2 apologies have been received from councillors, that being Councillor Kine and Councillor McNeil, and no leave of absence request has been received. We'll move on to item 3, declarations of interest, and I have 2, given that we have some grant rounds. I have one from Councillor Robinson at item 12.3.3, the grant round, and its impartiality as a board member of the KV Kununurra Visitors Centre. And we also have from Councillor Harty at 12.3.3, Community Grants Round 2, impartiality as a East Kimberley Chamber of Commerce and Industry Board member. Thank you for those.
Excuse me, Mr. President, and 3, I'm yet to complete my form.
And 3 from Councillor Chafer, who's also on the board
of the East Kimberley Chamber
of Commerce and Industry.
Thank you.
Thank you. At item 4, in response to previous public questions taken on notice, we have nil. At 5, public question time, we have no one in the gallery, and no one I'm aware of to ask that requires any question time. At 6, we have applications for leave of absence. I have nil. At 7, we have petitions. I have nil. At 8, confirmation of minutes. Why do I have nil there? We've got no...
Confirmation of the previous minutes. We need a mover and a seconder.
Yeah, I'm just... Sorry, my paperwork's just a little bit out. I need a mover and a seconder if everyone's comfortable. Councillor Robinson, 8. And a seconder if I could. Councillor Timms. Against. All in favour?
7.
All of us, which was 7. 7-0. Thank you. Announcements by the person presiding, being me. A relatively busy month. going to skip the first couple. I have attended a Kimberley District Leadership Group meeting. I think it was the 23rd of April. On the 6th of May, the 2028 Eclipse Regional Working Group meeting number 2, attended by the CEO. On the 7th and 8th of May, a meeting with DPIRD exploring tailwater quality in the Ord River irrigation area, attended by myself. On the 8th, associated with that was a water quality management project, attended by myself. On the 9th of May 2025, a meeting with the new Minister for the Environment, Community Services, Homelessness, the Honourable Matthew Swinburne, and also joined by the member for the Kimberley, Davina Deanna MLA, attended by myself and the CEO. On the 12th of May, the CEO, myself and Shire officers joined the Jarwin executive visit and joined a panel to discuss economic development in the East Kimberley. On the 13th of May, councillors were invited and Shire staff to a walk around of the Cumnara Leisure Centre pool redevelopment site. On the 19th of May, a roundtable discussion with E&I representatives, attended by the Deputy Shire President and the CEO. 21st of May, a Ballingarra board meeting attended by the CEO. 23rd of May was a Friday youth group reference meeting attended by myself. You didn't get it. For a very short time to acknowledge the visit by Minister Rhys Whitby. At the same time, at the Kimberley Development Commission was a meeting with the Honourable Stephen Dawson and the Kimberley Development Commission, attended by myself and the CEO. Also on the same day in the afternoon was a tour of the cotton gin and lint testing facility tour with the Honourable Stephen Dawson and Department of Primary Industries and Regional Development members, attended by myself, followed by a tour of the lint testing facility as well. And also on the afternoon of the 23rd of May was a tourism forum attended by Councillor Gooding and the CEO, with the presence of the Honourable Rhys Whitby MLA. 24th of May saw a ceremony at the airport for a sod turning for the runway extension, attended by our federal Senator for WA, Glenn Stirl, also our Minister for Regional Development, Stephen Dawson, myself, the CEO, Councillor Gooding, Councillor Robinson, and various DPIRD attendees.
As well as Davina Deanna.
And also our local member, Davina Deanna. My apologies to the minute taker. I will get that one in better form to you at the end of the meeting. And that was the meetings we also on the Friday the 23rd met with our federal member of Parliament, Melissa Price, to update her on matters of interest to our community. Thank you. At item 10, matters for which the meeting may be closed. At item 16.1, we have purchases and disposals for the 24-25 year plant management program. At item 11, deputations, presentations and submissions, I have nil. So we will move to 12 and the reports. 12.1, matters arising from council committees, and we only have one committee, that being the Audit, Finance and Risk Committee. At page 4 of the agenda at item 12.1.1. Chair of the committee, would you like to make any comments on that, or?
Well, we might.
Sorry. Thank you, Chair. The Audit, Risk and Finance Committee has gone through systematic improvement process with the staff have in the finance department have developed and grown our agenda so that we are in a position that we, as a committee, we can recommend to council with confidence. And I'd just like to congratulate the work that's been done. I think that we've achieved the final resting agenda list, and I think that the items that are on the agenda now will give us a good spread of analysis throughout the organisation that we can come to council with confidence, and I think that we're ready for the changes that are going to come at the October election, and we're prepared for those changes. And I think that the recommendations there are all good, and with that, I'd like to move them in block.
Thank you, Councillor Robinson. I agree. I think they're very thorough. Councillor Schaefer, seconding. So we've got a mover in Councillor Robinson, a seconder in Councillor Schaefer. Anyone against? All in favour? All in favour, 7-0. Thank you and congratulations to the Audit Committee. I recognise I'm not there very often, but as I don't need to be, but I recognise the amount of effort you've put into preparing for the changes in legislation that will be implemented in a few months' time. So thank you for that work. At page 7, item 12.2, the Office of the CEO, we have a standing item on the outstanding actions from previous council minutes. Is there any queries or questions on that? Otherwise, looking for a mover and a seconder. Councillor Schaefer to move.
No, sorry, queries. Couple of quick queries.
Yes,
yeah.
Please.
Just wondering, but I know the director's not here, so maybe we can hold it over for the next meeting, but an update on Mulligan's Lagoon Road with the cotton gin coming on stream very, very soon. I did have a question from a member of the public about that earlier today, when that issue around that intersection.
Potential change of intersection.
Yeah, but maybe we can hold that over for the next meeting, or...
President, I can probably provide some answers on that. Councillor Schaefer, the Shire officers have applied for a federal grant for a bit of infrastructure for a new intersection in the amount of about $5 million. So that grant application is in, it's still awaiting assessment. If we're successful in that, that will then allow us to construct a new intersection. What we haven't finalised yet is whether the intersection will be where it currently is, or we will move that intersection slightly to the north. I have had some conversations with the general manager of Kimberley Agricultural Investments and his involvement with the cotton gin as to the best place for that, because there's some other issues on water that needs to cross Weber Plain Road going up into that area as well. So those discussions are ongoing. So it is in process. We are aware of it. What happens will depend on whether we're successful with that grant or not.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. And my final query was just on, I note that we've got a date for the Ag Oval renaming, July 5th. Very pleased to see I guess the family's given us some feedback and that's the date they want. And I'm just wondering, I'm assuming that will be a Shire managed process, and I'm just wondering how wide we will send out invitations for that particular ceremony.
Director Allen, that sounds like your area. Thank you.
Yeah, Councillor Schaefer, the date has been picked based off the best availability of Ingrid's sons. We're working with both Jeremy and Miles at the moment to get a better list of the preferred attendees as far as external, as well as working with the Ord Magpies Football Club to ensure that we get a fairly broad invite list out. It will be managed by the Shire in conjunction with the club. We're yet to work out those final details of what the club's going to do, but I believe that they may do something over the bar for that particular event. But we'll know more by the end of next week.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Chafer. Thank you, Director Allen. Would any other clarification sought? Councillor Hardy?
Just on that one as well, so will that have like the sign and the comms plan and all that around, just kind of maximising that? Awesome. Great option.
Thank you for that.
Yes, it does, Councillor Hardy.
Thanks, Director Allen. Councillor Robinson?
Mine's just relating to format of the actual report. Can we do something so that, because I zoom in and I lose it. Yeah, so can we please change, because it's an important document for the council, and I think it's a really good opportunity to catch up, but if we can look at doing some sort of different format.
It is horribly historical, Councillor Robertson. Yep, we can do something with that, yep.
All right, we'll leave that one as slightly open confirmation that something will happen. Understanding that the historical side of it does provide important context when you're expecting something to change quickly and you see the timeline. Looking for a mover and a seconder if there are no more queries or questions. Councillor Chafer, thank you for moving. And a seconder if I could. Councillor Hardy. Against? All in favour? 7-0. Thanks, councillors. We move on to page 9 at item 12.2.2, which is standing item on the use of the common seal. Any clarification sought on that? Otherwise, looking for a mover and a seconder, if I could. Councillor Robinson, and a seconder, Councillor Deere. Against? All in favour? 7-0. Thank you. At page 11 of the agenda, 12.3, Planning and Community Development. The 12.3.1 is the Kimberley 2050 Cycling Strategy. Very aspirational and a long-term plan. Is there any clarifications or queries on that plan? Which I note doesn't involve many actions, but it is quite aspirational. No. If not, I'm looking for a mover and a seconder, if I could, for that plan. Councillor Chafer and Councillor Hardy. Against? All in favour? 7-0. Thank you. I guess it's a useful tool for advocacy and aligning our needs with their plan. So appreciate there is a really strong use for it. At page 15 of the agenda at item 12.3.2 is the progress and performance report for the third quarter, January to March 2025. Any clarifications or queries on that one? Councillor Hardy, thank you.
Just on this one, I just noticed the tree planting budget for 32.6 in there is $5,000, but I thought we'd approved a lot more than that, but perhaps that's just where that allocation pool's coming from.
Thanks.
Yeah, Councillor Hardy. We, at the mid-year budget review, we said that we were going to place a significant amount of funds in the Capital Works Reserve for a comprehensive tree planting program for both Kununurra and Wyndham. In preparing the budget for 25-26, I've put in an item in the Capital Works program for $200,000 for a Capital Works program around tree planting, irrigation, greening, etc. So that's in the 25-26 budget process.
Sorry, Councillor Robinson, do you want to chip in? I've got more.
No, go.
Just around I know, year one actions, 19.3 is the reconciliation action plan. I just couldn't see that, any update in the report there.
Maybe Director Allen?
Sorry, having issues with the microphone turning on. The current, there's been no update of that because effectively due to staff resourcing, we haven't been able to really get into that wrap at this point. It remains on the priority list, but we haven't started that body of work yet.
I did mean to email this through and then I just forgot, but 19.2, probably another one for you, Director Allen, but the club development officer, I can see that's noted in there. Just curious around how does that get kind of implemented through? So that was just in regards to increasing volunteerism. So yeah, just keen to understand that one.
Yeah, so part of the budget process for next financial year, we have requested some funding to put that position on. Effectively, the CEO is probably in a better position to answer whether or not that was captured, but it has been requested.
Thanks, Director Allen. I like that one. Yeah.
Mr. President, Councillor Hardy, yes, the request has been made. It is in the staff budget spreadsheet. I haven't finalised exactly what that staff budget is going to look like, because at this stage, additional staffing costs for next year are looking like increasing by about $1.3 million. So I'm going to have to cut it back a little bit. At this point in time, the club development officer is in there, we'll see how we go budget-wise with it.
So the last one was 29.2, which is around the self-performing works business case, and it is listed as the business case in there, and then implementation. It's listed as on track, but I'm just conscious that was, I know we communicated about it last year and then raised in February this year. For that, I'd probably just be wary about us listing that as on track, given that it actually does reference the business case and that the detailed plan around that relative to actually just doing the work. So probably perhaps suggest that shouldn't be on track, or we get a timeline on when that comes through.
I can answer that, Mr. President. Councillor Hardy, Director Webb provided me with a document about 2 weeks ago for me to work through. I've worked through most of it. There's some things I need to question him further. He's away on leave at the moment. I'm hoping to finalise that with him over the coming weeks and then try and present it back to council before the end of the financial year.
Thanks, Councillor Hardy. Councillor Robinson?
Okay, so my one is 9.3, is the change rooms for Town Oval. I just note that the actual activity and to the rest to the officer's comment is a little bit aligned, and it's off track. And I just wondered if that was the women's toilet at the Town Oval that we spoke about as part of the when we looked at the events and sporting review, and I'm just wondering what was happening with that change rooms.
Thanks, Councillor Robinson. Director Allen, I had a feeling it was a non-gender specific, what's the word? Unisex toilet block, but I may have misread it, sorry. Director Allen, you can inform us, I'm sure.
The change rooms at Town Oval we're hoping to pick up as part of a continued precinct plan for that recreation precinct. It has been picked up within the recreation and events strategy, which we should have the draft through at the June briefing and OCM. But we're looking at it as a bigger piece of work. Earlier in the year, we had the opportunity of applying for some funding, which unfortunately we weren't successful in obtaining. So we've changed track on that a little bit to look at that precinct as a whole and ensure that we get some feasibility and needs assessments done to ensure that the change room will meet the future needs for the community.
Does that answer your question, Councillor Robinson?
It does, but from memory, I think there was an actual requirement now for some sort of facility, because I just noticed that it's a seek funding and construct the Kununurra Town Oval changing facilities. That was our activity. And so I do remember it being that there was an actual requirement or a need for this changing facility because there was quite a journey for some participants to use it, some sporting groups to use it. Is that correct?
The current change rooms there at the moment certainly don't meet the needs of any user of the town oval. Some of the oldest buildings, I think, or facilities, I think we still have on our asset register. So they certainly don't meet the current needs. They're functional, they're safe, but they're old and not in the best location, given that the users have to cross. It's not a thoroughfare, but there's traffic that goes through there. The corporate business plan review that we're undergoing at the moment has changed that wording a little bit, purely because the funding that we are going for requires a little bit more in-depth information rather than just seek funding. There needs to be a needs analysis and a feasibility study with most of the funding applications we're going through. So that's now captured and will be part of that precinct planning.
Estimated cost?
I can only go off the cost of the change room in Wyndham, and that was just under $1 million for a fairly basic change room and toilet. It was a Modus kit home or kit change room, and that cost in Wyndham to purchase and construct was just under $1 million.
Okay.
So we're looking at a similar facility or a double-sized facility, Director Allen?
That's part of the work that we'll be doing with the feasibility study and needs analysis. Given the location and the amount of clubs that use the town oval, I would imagine the need will be bigger than what Wyndham's need was.
Thank you.
Okay.
CEO?
Yeah,
Mr.
President.
Just one more quick one. So on our financials by department, the operations team has an underspend of $735,000. Now, I did raise this at the last when we had this last, and I think that is remaining about the same. Now, I was assured that it was a timing thing and that the operations, the maintenance and town operations would pick that underspend up, and I just seen it's pretty much remain the same. And I'm just wondering should we be looking at getting some further contractors in to pick up that underspend, because we are approving a rates rise and we've got underspend in our operation maintenance of the town. I just would like to really highlight that if we could, please.
CEO?
Yeah, I can answer that. Councillor Robinson, going through in the preparation of the budget at the moment, I'm doing estimates for the end of the financial year across all general ledger accounts, and we're pretty much on track for the vast majority of it. The only areas where we not going to spend all our money is where we have staff that we haven't had bums in seats across the organisation, but otherwise most other areas, yeah, it looks like we're going to be busy spending most of our budget on that.
So has it picked up since obviously this was a March? This closed in March.
Yes, that is March. Yeah, yep. And we don't go through an exhaustive financial process for this. So it's pretty much, we don't raise accruals or anything like that to show actual expenditure. So it's really just cash out at this moment.
Okay.
Yep.
Can I just have a quick... you wanted to respond to maybe Director Allen or Sorry, I'll let you do that first.
Just for councillors' information on the director, Alan brought up that we had applied for some funding for change rooms and were unsuccessful. My memory is that we applied for approximately $2 million for that funding round. So that was what was envisaged, something that would be about twice the size of what we did down in Wyndham.
Thanks, CEO. If we could just pick up on Councillor Robinson's query on that underspend, and I think what maybe we're getting at is, are we comfortable that we're spending enough on the condition of our town centre? Is that what we're... is there a need? Is there a...
It's difficult to gauge if there's underspend. So, when you've got, I just would like, I understand of timing, and I understand what the CEO said about they're not going down into the finer details, but a trend of it correcting would have, I've just picked up that there was no trend. It looked like it was on parity. But if you assure me that the next quarter one will be back on track,
But I think that also leads to the fact that we've been trying to make use of some of our MOUs or further our MOUs and try and engage some more resources in that space to, which may require a bigger budget allocation if we are indeed spending what we're allocating at present. So I take it, CEO, that is a work in progress.
Yes, Mr. President, absolutely, it's a work in progress there. We're trying to tackle service delivery, particularly with reference to what the town looks like on a number of different fronts. We are looking at additional staff in the outdoor workforce for the coming financial year, both here and in Wyndham, and we're also looking at exploring some of the MOUs that we've currently got in place to make use of other organisations that can provide the same service on a much better financial basis than we can.
Thanks, CEO. Appreciate that. So I'm at 12.3.2. We've done a fair bit of interrogation there. Is anyone comfortable to move and second the recommendation? Councillor Chafer. Councillor Deere. Seconded. Against. All in favour? 7-0. Thank you, councillors. Thank you, staff. At page 19, we are at 12.3.3, and I do have some impartiality interests there, which was Councillor Robinson, Chafer and Harty. Councillor Robinson and Chafer as Chamber of Commerce was Councillor Chafer and Councillor Harty, and Visitor Centre impartiality for Councillor Robinson. So we have in front of us there, after an exhaustive process by the Community Development team, a recommendation. Are there any queries or clarifications sought in there? Councillor Robinson.
I'd just like to raise, I did raise it with Nick before the meeting, that I just note that two of the recipients are getting duplication of grant funding for this financial year, and I just wanted to flag that as we do the review of the grants, that possibly look at putting in place that we don't necessarily duplicate. I just think that it's sending the wrong message to our recipients, that some are more favourable than others, and I just don't think that that's a fair and equitable approach. I think that you get one per round, and then we are splitting the round into two, and having a second grant in the year doesn't necessarily set a good precedent. So we can do that. That would be great.
Thanks, Councillor Robinson. I'm sure Director Allen has taken notes on that, and it may even require a bit more discussion at a later point in time, but certainly appreciate those comments. With that, any other clarification sought? If not, I'm looking for a mover and a seconder on the recommendation in front of us. Councillor Harty is moving, and a seconder if good. Councillor Robinson. Against. All in favour? 7-0. Thank you, councillors. We move to page 27 of the agenda at item 12.4, corporate services. The 12.4.1 is the schedule of fees and charges for the financial year 25-26. There's a recommendation sitting in front of us. Any queries or clarifications sought? If not, I'm looking for a mover and a seconder. Councillor Robinson moving, and a seconder if I could. Councillor Chafer against. All in favour? 7-0. Thank you. 12.4. At page 31, at 12.4.2, this is the budget differential general rates and minimum payments and the consideration of public submissions. What's the best way with that one? There is a recommendation 1 and 2. Would I could,
Deal with recommendation 1 first and
Yep.
recommendation 2 afterwards.
yep, so at recommendation 1, ultimately I'm looking for a mover and a seconder. Or a indication. Mover, Councillor Hardy. A seconder, Councillor Chafer. Against? All in favour? 7-0, unanimous. Thank you. So that's recommendation 1. We go to recommendation 2, which is on the rating model. Do I have a mover? I think
We need to move it.
we need to move it to
I'm happy
process
move-
it.
I'm happy to move it with an amendment. Do you want to do it that way, or?
So you're foreshadowing an amendment, would that be right?
I think possibly in order.
In order to progress it, we need a mover.
Yeah, in order to progress it, Mr. President, we need a mover and a seconder. If somebody disagrees with it, they can approach.
I'm happy to move.
Okay.
If I could get a seconder, and maybe someone might. A seconder, and someone might.
Is that's the model that we talked about today, though, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
And anyone
Sorry, just 'cause the
against?
percentages aren't in there.
Thank you.
Mr. President, so with the mover and the seconder, the motion is now live.
Yeah.
So we can if any councillors want to move any amendments.
I'll do with the insertion of the table of the 2.6 percentage rate rise. And the table
6%.
can be inserted into that, the officer's recommendation number 2, and with that amendment, then that would form the rates rise for 25-26.
Right, that's the amended one there. So I have a mover for an amendment.
I'll do it. Yep.
Yep.
So can we ask clarification on that, or?
Yep.
Sorry, just because I'm just a bit confused around which, obviously because that model looks a bit different to just the template before. Is that the one where we applied the uniform rate rise
Yes.
to every category, and then we've adjusted the rate in the dollar?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, cool, sorry.
Yep, so I'd be looking for a seconder for that. Councillor Chafer. Anyone against? No? Otherwise, we'd probably, if we've got no one against, we'd take a vote on that. And so the amendment is that we alter the value to the number to 2.6%. Those in favour, please raise your hand. I can't see on screen, but thank you.
Yes.
Yep, that's 7. So the amendment, and
This
now,
will be carried. So now it's the substantive becomes a substantive motion, so we can vote on the substantive motion.
yep. So everyone's in favour. Sorry, my process things not.
Did anyone second this?
Yes, Councillor Chafer's seconded. Councillor Robinson's moved the amendment. Councillor Chafer's seconded. So that now becomes the substantive motion of which I moved. Councillor Hardy seconded. Anyone? So we're just asking for a vote. In
Yep.
favour? Yep, 7, and against? None. So that is that.
Thank you,
Good.
councillors.
Thank you, councillors. So we need to do more amendments of motions. No, we don't. Recommendations. Process. At page 37 of the agenda at 12.4.3 is the monthly financial report. Is there any queries or clarifications sought? If not, looking for a mover. Councillor Schaefer, seconder. Councillor Robinson. Against. All in favour? 7-0. Thank you. At page 39 of the agenda at item 12.4.4 is the list of the accounts paid for the municipal and trust funds. Any clarification sought?
Just one.
Councillor Robinson, thank
We've
you.
got there's a payment made of $17,229 to NARJA for developing Northern Australia. I just wanted to know what that payment was for.
Yeah, Councillor Robertson, we are the secretariat for the Kimberley Regional Group, and so we hold the funds for the Kimberley Regional Group. So it's a disbursement of those funds for members of the 4 shires to attend the Developing Northern Australia.
Which has happened or coming?
It's end of July. So
July, right.
so the amount of funds that have been dispersed are for two members from each shire plus members of the secretariat to attend. Yep.
Thanks, Councillor Robinson, for that one. I mean, when you've got accounts sort of sitting within accounts, it sort of does become a little bit hard to keep a track. Councillor Hardy.
As a good reminder from Councillor Robinson then, just around payments we would have made to like Stephen Yarwood, and I'm just conscious that there were deliverables that were due from some of that expenditure, which I just haven't seen yet. Just wondering if...
Councillor Hardy, I circulated a draft report asking councillors for comments. It probably would be about at least a month ago now. If there were any changes or any comments that I could feed back to them. I haven't had any comments back so far.
Yeah, I replied that. Is that the one for Stephen Yarwood?
Yep.
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
the one.
yeah.
Yep.
And Councillor Harding did.
Well, we sent through the survey results.
Survey result.
No, it wasn't survey results. There's approximately a 40-page report that was produced, which I circulated to all councillors. I can resend that off
We
to
might
councillors.
resend that one
Yep.
because I
Yep.
think I've probably mislaid that one as well.
Yeah, I've not. Yeah, no.
All right,
And then-
thanks for the query. And another one follow up.
The other one
Thank
was
you.
just noting that there's about 146 grand of electricity costs in there. Just curious if we've thought about progressing potentially solar at all to try and drive some of those down. Could suggest that there might be an opportune time to engage the appropriate stakeholders to look at what a proposal might be in that space.
Yes, Councillor Hardy, certainly with the development of at the leisure centre, once we do the disaster recovery project, we're looking at solar as part of that project. Ongoing is that at the airport, we're looking at probably solar at the airport as well. A couple of years back, we did an investigation for solar on this building. So between this building, the airport and the leisure centre, that was approximately 70% of our electricity costs. So we're constantly looking for grant opportunities to put some solar in. But with all the other work that we've got at the moment, hasn't been the top of our list.
Mr. President.
Yes, Councillor Gooding, thank you.
Look, just continuing on with the point that Councillor Hardy's making, I just wonder if we end up with solar on those two facilities at the airport and also the leisure centre, whether we might consider those public-facing meters that Broome Shire has in their building, so that the public gets a sense about how both of those solar facilities might be contributing. So rather than just have solar on the roof that nobody sees, and I don't know what they're called, Dylan may well have a better understanding of what those things are called, but if we can publicise the progressive contribution of solar to the running of those places, I think it's in everyone's interests.
Thanks, Councillor Gooding. I think that's really good. Just on that though, I'd love to see, and I did ask, because I was too lazy, did ask the CEO about how Broome International Airport were funding all their solar projects. I still haven't seen a business case or haven't understood a business case as to how we attract the capital and justify that investment, but I'm really keen to see that. There's obviously lots of investment in solar and some of them even get turned on and connected. So, yeah, be good. I think that's a bit of work we can chase up outside of the council meeting. 12.4.4, any other clarifications? Otherwise, I'm looking for a mover and a seconder for the officer's recommendation there. Councillor Robinson and Councillor Schaefer. Against, all in favour? 7-0. Thank you. At 12.5, infrastructure, we have nil. At 13, motions of which previous notice has been given, we have nil. At 14, questions by members of which due notice has been given, we have nil. At 15, urgent business approved by the person presiding or by decision. My apologies for lack of notice and preparation, but I would like to, given that prior to the meeting we just did our audit entrance committee meeting, I thought it was possibly worthwhile recording in the minutes the fact, and I would propose, if I could find a seconder, to put forward a recommendation or a motion into the record, and it would go along the lines that to record that, one, as a local government, we are compelled to utilise the auditor appointed by and for the West Australian Office of the Auditor General. 2, procurement is not compliant with Shire of Wyndham East Kimberley processes. And 3, disclosures and transparency of audit charges is not consistent with professional body best practice. The point is not particularly to create a fuss. I think I feel it would be important to record the fact that we acknowledge that it's not according to our normal behaviours. If there was ever questions in the future about the behaviour of that government entity, that at least we've acknowledged that we're aware of it and worked within the framework we're forced to work. So that would be my recommendation. Apologies for the short notice, but it was only that I realised we're in an audit committee entrance meeting immediately prior to this that I thought it was possibly appropriate to record it. So I'm happy to take any comments from other councillors. Councillor Robinson is. So we do. So I think CEO, I haven't done this before, but I presume if I wanted to move that, I've got a seconder.
Yeah.
Test the floor and see if there's someone against, and then we can discuss it. That would be
Mr. President, I think it's entirely appropriate. You have the discretion to raise an item, bring a motion forward. The motion is clear. You've moved it. We've got a seconder. It can be put to the vote and adopted.
Thanks, CEO. I'm more than happy for councillors not here or online. I'm more than happy to reread that, but I did check with the CEO immediately prior to the meeting. I think everything there is factual. There's no emotion or opinion in there. I think the wording is appropriate without being anything more than appropriate. So is there anyone? So I'm happy to read that again. Otherwise, if not, I'll ask for anyone against and put it to the vote. So anyone against?
you just reread it.
I will reread it then. Okay, so to record that, one, as a local government, we are compelled to utilise the auditor appointed by and for the West Australian Office of the Auditor General. Two, procurement is not compliant with the Shire of Wyndham East Kimberley processes. And three, disclosures and transparency of audit charges are not consistent with professional best practice.
Mr. President,
Thank you, Councillor Gooding.
isn't the first point the substantive point? I'm not sure that the others add much. I'm not really completely clear what you're trying to do here.
I guess if I look at myself as a director of a business, I want to make sure that I'm outlining that I recognise that we're being forced to act what we wouldn't, in a way that we wouldn't normally act. Like we would never go and do procurement this way with any other piece of council procurement. And I guess your point is absolutely correct that item one, that as a local government, we're compelled to utilise the auditor appointed. So I guess I am poking the bear a little bit with point 2 and 3. I'll acknowledge that.
My thing was, what is it council noting? Is that what, because you've got there.
Yeah, I've got record or note that. Yes, I'm
So
happy.
council to note that, right, okay.
As a decision maker within the council, we recognise this is not according to according to our normal process.
Yeah.
And what is the bit that is non-compliant?
It's
Mr. President, if I can help you out on this.
Thanks.
Councillor Gooding, is that when we procure services and goods for the organisation, we've got a procurement policy and we've got legislation and regulations that we have to abide by. We have to ensure that we provide best value for our ratepayers in that whole process. Now, that is true for everything we do except for audit fees. Our audit fees are prescribed to us. We have no input into how those fees are determined and whether we're getting value for money. History will show that our audit fees approximately doubled at the time the Office of the Auditor General took over our audits, and repeated requests by the administration of the Office of the Auditor General to provide some transparency around the setting of fees has produced no further information. At this stage, investigations by the administration as to what an audit fee for our organisation should be, by having a look at other jurisdictions around the country, is that we firmly believe that the audit fee that we are paying does not present value for money. However, we'd be happy to pay that audit fee if there was some transparency about what we were paying for. The Office of the Auditor General does provide performance audits for the industry and a number of other services. If that could be broken down in an audit fee that we can see what we're paying for, rather than just this is the audit fee, pay for it, that we can justify it to our community if we were queried. At this stage, we cannot do that. So I think the points 2 and 3 go to addressing that to some degree. Best practice out in the audit environment is that when you quote for a fee, you quote number of hours per category of staff that perform the audit, with an average charge-out rate that you can determine. You can see what value you're getting at the end of the day. So that's pretty much the background to I would say to points 2 and 3.
Councillor Chafer?
Look, can I add to that too? It wasn't just setting the fees, but this financial year they increased our fees. They said their costs had gone up, but they provided no justification to us for why they needed to increase our fees.
Thanks, Councillor Chafer. I'm happy to put it to the vote. Councillor Gooding, is there anything I can do to give you comfort around that?
Look, well, first of all, I don't think it's something I particularly want to die in a ditch for.
No.
So, if there's I don't see much upside value in doing what we're doing, recognising that it's not our decision about the appointment of auditors, and whilst we have no transparency of how they are appointed, you would have to imagine that the Auditor General had their own procurement processes, and not sure it's our business to be getting involved with that. So, look, I hear the point. I understand how this has created some sensitivity because we don't have complete visibility of it. I'll pull my argument back, and I'm happy to go along with the flow on this because I don't think it's actually a big thing, but I also don't think the upside's very big either.
Thanks, Councillor Gooding. Yeah, I don't think the upside's that great either, but we've just come through an entrance meeting and the attitudes with the office and the consultant. All right, so I'll put it to a vote and we can move on, hopefully. So, all those in favour? 7-0. All right, thank you for humouring me. Thank you. We move on to item 16, matters behind closed doors. We have no one in the room, so I'll just ask the minute taker to suspend the. Oh well, I'd like to move behind closed doors. I'd like to move that we go behind closed doors at 6:03, and Councillor Schaefer is seconding, and against, all in favour. 7-0. Behind closed doors. And we will resume as soon as I get the all clear that we've suspended the transmission. the door open to make sure no one does want to come in. There was no one there, so then I'll be comfortable that I don't have to. Oh, I do have to read because. Are we live streamed? All right. So I do have to read. Oh, thank you for that.
But maybe we need to change how this is done as per.
I suppose I don't read it anymore, so I guess if I have to read one out for the sake of it, I might abbreviate the way I read it out.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be verbatim.
No.
Verbatim, you can say, because this goes into the open council minutes.
Yeah.
That so you can say concerning tender declines for vehicles.
I will abbreviate it for the interest of getting people home. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you. And protocol means that we are back in public. Behind camera, we dealt with matter 16.1, which was the purchase and disposal of plant and equipment as part of the plant management program. And I'm required to read out that decision. Moved Councillor Schaefer, seconded Councillor Gooding, and passed by Councillor 7-0 was the recommendation that Council 1 concerning tender T15-24-25 that Council A declines tenders for the disposal of plant items being registration Y28151, a 2018 Toyota Hilux four-wheel drive, WY38558 being a 2018 Toyota Hilux two-wheel drive, WY28116 a 2018 Toyota Land Cruiser four-wheel drive, and IHTQ 855 a Hitachi wheeled excavator. So we declined tenders for those. We accepted tenders for the disposal of plant items being PX120 being a 2013 Fuso Canter. Read the whole thing out, as printed, being a tender offer of $10,000 ex-GST, Kimberley Surveying. Item 2 was a 1GKY 038 2017 case back a tender offer 22,500 excluding GST from Dennis Pryor. 2 concerning RFQ 09-24-25 supply and trade of light vehicles. All these items will be listed on the council website as the minutes of this meeting. So we've accepted the quotation for the supply of 2 Hiluxes, 1 Corolla and a Hilux single cab. At B, declines the quotation for Northwest Motor Group trading as Broome Toyota for the supply of a light vehicle Toyota Hilux GUN 125RRC, and decline all other trade offers from Northwest Motor Group. 3, concerning RFQ 11-24-25A, supply of backhoe, and RFQ 11-24-25B, trade of backhoe. The council accepts the quotation from RDO Equipment for the supply of a backhoe as per the pricing under Walga PSP 006 for the following: 1, a supply of 1 John Deere 315 SL backhoe, and B, declines all trade offers for 1 GKY 038 case backhoe. And 4, concerning RFQ 13-24-25A, the supply of excavator, and RFQ 13-24-25B, trade of excavator, that council declines all supply offers and declines all trade offers for IHTQ 855 Hitachi wheeled excavator. That being the completion of the minutes, the agenda, I'd like to declare this meeting closed and thank you all for your attendance at 6:32. 22. Thank you. Thank you all. Thanks for those online.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, councillors.
Just one moment, Jeff. Hang on.